And like I was very emotional, and little part of me is still hoping that she would still come back to my breasts and in my loving arms. Okay, so today's video is about my toddler who weaned herself with the breast and I was not ready. It was one of the most emotional. I was just not ready for it. And before that, I just wanted to share like a backstory of our breastfeeding journey. I wanted to take a deep breath because it just took me to those days where we struggled, and like I held her with my own hands and she was so tiny. It was actually a roller coaster ride with lots of ups and downs and challenges, and like yeah, I almost gave up like during the first few weeks of it because it was just so hard. But let me start from like at the hospital itself. That's Paula. She's just here in her living room playing, and while she's playing I'll be doing the video. Let me start at the hospital when she was born 2+ years ago, December 6th. She was born actually very healthy, but like the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck. Her heart rate dropped as soon as she was like pushed out of my body. She was brought to the NICU for just a couple hours, I think. Just to monitor her breathing and like her heart rate. We didn't hire a lactation consultant while we were at the hospital because usually there would be like an office for a lactation consultant for you to call, or like if you need some help while you are in the delivery room and you need some help with your baby helping to latch. But we didn't have that issue, thankfully. Paula did very good during the first few hours of the breastfeeding session. I was so thankful for that. Fast forward, we went home, and although it was a learning process for us, she eventually learned how to latch perfectly. That was also at the same time where the tenderness of my breast like subsided, especially because with pregnancy and the hormones and everything that's going on with my body, my breasts are just so sore at that time. So it was so painful during the first few days, actually the first few weeks. I had Jophil assist me to like do cold first and then hot compresses every single time I had to feed Paula. And imagine that's like around the clock every 3 or 4 hours. That's the stage where the baby has to eat and eat and eat. So I had to do cold and hot compresses every 3 to 4 hours before I feed Paula because it was just so painful. And I would either kick the bed or bite something, my shirt, or like just basically to anything just to ease the pain. So I would say that Paula is exclusively breastfed for the 2-year span. Okay, so initially when I was still pregnant, I was gifted with a manual pump, and we tried that one during the first few weeks after Paula was born, but it just didn't work because one, it's energy consuming to like pump the milk out of your breast, not to add a sleep, like being sleep deprived and like your baby needing you like 24/7 around the clock. So what I did was I gave it to a friend. But then I think a month or 2 after that, we wanted to try to pump so we can save some breast milk for other people to feed Paula, especially like my husband. So we bought an electric pump from Amazon. It was actually delivered to her house already. It was sitting on our counter for a few days because we were just contemplating whether to do that excess work, which is pumping, because it's not easy to pump. Set aside some time to pump, to store, to wash bottles and like everything, the pump machine and everything. And another thing is like electric pump are so expensive. We backed up and like assessed our plan and I don't think we can do it. So we ended up returning the electric pump to Amazon. But since my supply was pretty good at that time, I was like leaking pretty hard. I was just using the hack-up pump and some breast shells to catch my letdowns and save those ones for Paula to consume like later. I still have them in my cupboard somewhere, and I'm also planning to use that for the second baby. So I mentioned that I used the Haka pump and some breast gels to catch my letdown. In order to feed that to Paula, I tried to let Paula use a bottle in order to feed my letdowns because it's liquid gold and I can just throw it away. She actually took the bottle, and I was so surprised because again, I mentioned that we exclusively breastfed for the first month, for the first few weeks. She took the bottle for I would say 2 months. I think my supply went not really low, but like I wasn't having that much letdown as I used to have before. There wasn't any letdown happening, so I was not able to catch anything excess out of my breast. So Paula was directly like breastfed to me. Another major issue that I encountered with my breastfeeding journey with Paula were those engorged breasts. They were so awful that they were so big like this, and the swelling almost reaches up to my armpit. It was so bad. I actually made a separate video on what I did to like minimize the pain. I had fever at that time with my engorged breast, and it was so bad. It was so awful. It was actually affecting our breastfeeding sessions with Paula because I just can't let her latch onto my breast without feeling like so much pain. If you want to check that video, I will put it on the card right here or in the description box. Fast forward to 10th month of our breastfeeding journey, I actually tried to wean her. Let's not deny it. Breastfeeding is such a hard process in the motherhood journey that takes all of your energy and time, and like once the baby latches, you're just there laying down or sitting down helpless. To wean her at that time was the cried out method. We did it at night, and when she tried to ask for some breast milk, we would just ignore her crying, and instead of me picking her up to like console her, my husband would be the one to pick her up, sway and like do everything to calm her down instead of me, because one, I just can take the crying, and this family is just not into the cried out method. So it was a fail at 10 months. We reached 1 year of breastfeeding. We then again tried to wean her. No luck still. We used the lipstick on the nipple method. I don't know if you've heard about that. That's what my mom used with our youngest brother. It was a huge success. My brother stopped latching into her breast once she saw that the nipple looks like it's bleeding, but it was not successful with Paula. Like I did show her that my nipple looks like there's blood and it's so painful for me, but she just didn't bother. Like, I still wanna breastfeed, mom, like I still want to. I tried to supplement her with formula. I'm sure you're familiar with the formula named Enfamil. We bought a box actually because we thought that it would work for us and she would try the formula, but unfortunately she didn't, and we ended up giving it away again. The breast milk just hits different with her because she just don't want to stop breastfeeding. So yeah, the journey went on and on, so she was still breastfeeding. But by the way, at this point she was past a year old already, so she's been having 3 meals in a day and 2 supplemental snack like in between the meals, but she doesn't eat that much. She liked the homogenized milk than the formula, but then again, remember, I was still breastfeeding at that time, but she would also take the homo milk 3%, specifically the natural brand that we get from Walmart. That's her absolute favorite up until now, 3 months after our long vacation and stuff, and she was still breastfeeding. First week of March this year, 2022, I was like trying to say it to her that my breasts are so sore and tender. I called it yaya in our own dialect because yaya means like painful and sore. In our dialect, we're trying to teach her English and our dialect in this household. Every time she would latch into my breast, I would tell her that it's yaya, it's so sore. Because if you guys don't know, we found out that I was pregnant last year, 2021, August, before we went home on our vacation. Challenges of being a pregnant woman as well, and that includes sore and tender breasts. So that was affecting our breastfeeding journey. It was affecting my mental health, honestly, and I just became so, I get so irritable most of the time, and my anger just went through the roof. I get so angry and irritable so easily. So I was like trying to talk to her, saying like I'm pregnant and I have a baby in mommy's belly, and that we have to stop like breastfeeding anytime soon. I think she understood and like had a good grasp of like what I was trying to say. Also like kissed my belly button, and like I think she already has an idea that the baby is coming, that she's gonna be a big sister soon. It was just one of those nights where we did our nighttime routine, and then we went to bed, and then I was just like telling her like, baby, my breasts are so sore and painful, like would it be okay if we will stop breastfeeding now? Like talk to her about the process of weaning and stuff. And then she just stopped. I actually wanted to cry because it was such an emotional ride for our breastfeeding journey. It was 2 long years, I would say, although other moms have breastfed their baby for 4, 5, even 6 years, and I salute all the moms who did that for their babies. I actually was timing the days that she would stop, and I thought that she would like latch again into my breast. Like I was counting the days. It took me a long while to make this video because it just didn't sink in, and like I was very emotional, and little part of me is still hoping that she would still come back to my breast and in my loving arms. Yeah, my baby self-weaned at 2+ years of breastfeeding. And if there's any advice that I could give to any breastfeeding mom, it is to like soak those moments, although give some time for yourself, for your self-care. I believe in the saying that you can't pour from an empty cup, and like being a mom is so time consuming, it's draining, it's just you're on your toes all the time. If you're new here and you don't know me, I'm Pauline. I do motherhood, just vlogs and anything in general. If it's not too much to ask, please hit the like and share and the subscribe button down there so you will be updated if we have a new video. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video, and if you reached this part of the video, I'm so thankful for you. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Bye-bye.